Hi everybody, just waiting for. Here we go. Hey guys, just gonna go live in a second. Connecting. There we go.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Thanks for doing this for us today.
No problem.
Awesome.
How's your day been so far?
Pretty good. Just waiting for these fans to be taken out of my apartment, but
Yeah,
you know,
casual day at the office.
yeah, exactly. Okay, we got quite a few viewers so far, so that's
Yeah,
awesome. So I'll just talk a little bit about what Kids Up Front is, and then
yeah.
I'll let you get cooking.
Make some cookies.
Um, yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, Kids Up Front is a registered charity here in Toronto. We also have chapters all over Canada, East and West Coast. So usually we take donations of tickets to anything that's child and youth friendly in the city. So anything from Raptors, Leafs, ROM, AGO, Science Center, Mirvish, almost anything. So we take those donations and then we work with our 300 plus partner agencies that work with children facing barriers of all sorts. And then we distribute the tickets to those people. And so it's really awesome. Right now, obviously, we can't do that. So we're looking for opportunities like you, thank you, to bring fun activities to kids at home. So thank you so much for being part of this. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's anything we can do as chefs. It's always a great time to give back and to help people. And especially in the comfort of our home, right? So
Yeah.
it makes it like very intimate. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All
Yeah,
right.
so today we're gonna make some cookies. I think it's a fairly easy recipe and something that kids do love. I've adapted the recipe as well, so all you need really is your hand and then a bowl. So we're gonna make it super easy. Before we start, I guess if people are making it at home, to start your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'm going to do right now. So that would be the first thing. So that it's gonna get hot while we make it.
Perfect. I'll jump off and let you do the rest, and I will
Yeah,
watch from home.
sounds good.
All right, thanks. Bye.
No problem. All right. Okay, so we're gonna start. I just had to take some croissant out of my oven, proofing, but we're gonna go on to the business. So for this recipe, you guys, we're gonna need to start, and we're gonna take our sugar. So we have brown sugar. So I have 250 grams of brown sugar. I'm gonna put into a bowl, and then we're gonna take our butter. So we have 138 grams of butter. We're gonna mix that in with the sugar, and we're gonna do it by hand. So if you want to use a spatula as well, it's absolutely okay. If I can find mine, here we go. So you can take a spatula. I'm gonna take you down actually, so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. What is that? Okay, great. So we're just gonna mix in the sugar and then the butter together. So I'm just gonna start it with the spatula, and eventually I'm gonna use my hand. There we go. So now that the sugar is and the butter is a little bit incorporated, I'm gonna use my hand because we'll do a more efficient job. It's also very fun to do. So off we go. Also, if you have any question about the recipe or anything I'm doing, you can ask in the question box down below. There will be some time during the recipe where the cookies are going to be baking, and I won't have time to, and I will have lots of time to answer your questions. So here we are. So we're going to kind of like cream the sugar and the butter together until it becomes one, like that. Okay, that's beautiful. Then I'm going to add my flour. I have about 260 grams of AP flour that I'm going to put all in. And I have 1.5 grams of baking soda, 1.5 grams of baking powder, and 2 grams of salt. So that's going to also go in there. Then I'm going to mix everything together. Oopsies. There we go. I'm gonna try to read your comment at the same time if I see anything, but it's multitasking right now, so our dough is kind of like coming together. Oops. And my watch is acting up. So it's a cookie recipe. It's fairly easy to make, but we want them to be kind of chewy and then crispy on the outside. Can you go a little slower? Still on the butter. It's easy. Once you have done the butter part, all you're gonna do is to add all your dry elements. I'm gonna go 2 hands deep. There we go. There you go. So we start to have a bit of a crumb. It's gonna start to come together. Then I'm gonna add a bit of vanilla. So I'm gonna add about 2 grams of vanilla or half a teaspoon. But if you put more, it's also okay. Delicious. Okay. Then I'm also gonna add an egg yolk and a whole egg to the mix. Yes, you can use shortening instead of butter. That's absolutely fine as well. Any fat is good, as long as it's like a fatty fat that's gonna actually hold everything together. And I want to mix all that in. There we go. So now we can see the mix is beautiful, coming together. And I'm gonna add the best part of the cookie, which is the chocolate. So this is a 70% dark chocolate, but you could use milk chocolate, any type of chocolate really that you like. This is actually my own chocolate that I made with my pastry chef Rochelle about 3 years ago in France. So it's got our name on it. And we have about 225 grams of chocolate. Gonna mix all in. If you want to, you can also break it into smaller pieces. I like it kind of like coarse. I like to have a nice bite of chocolate. And then we're gonna mix everything together. So you can also eat it raw. I mean, I don't know, you guys can tell me in the comments, but like, do you guys like your cookies actually raw, the dough itself, or do you like to bake them? Like, what's your favorite type of cookie? Can you actually survive on just that? Personally, I love cookie dough. So there you go. We have a nice mix right here. So I'm gonna take that down onto my cutting board, my bench rather. I'm gonna actually take you guys. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna wash my hands because I'm gonna turn my camera down, but I can't do that just now. Also, I do have an assistant cooking with me. So he's making sure the recipe is being followed properly. He doesn't trust me. Okay, so actually, I'm going to do that. It's a little easier. There we go. So we're just gonna have like a bit of a sausage, if you wish. So we want to kind of like form that. Roll it. I'm gonna turn that light off because it's too bright. It's even brighter. There we go. Now we see better. So there you go. You got a beautiful little cookie sausage. Okay. And we want to let that rest. It's hard. We have to let it rest for about 25 minutes, just so the dough is a little cooler. Which basically, when you cook your cookie, it's not gonna completely melt. You want it to kind of like stay together. So I should have another dough that is cooling down right now. Yeah. So I did make another recipe, just so we don't have to wait. You can see Brady is still making sure that everything, the operation is happening. So we have another dough right here. So I mean, this one's a little different, different sugar, but there's like all kind of sugar you can use. You can use white sugar, brown sugar, dark brown sugar. The darker, the more it's gonna actually. Hi, puppy. It's right here. There you go. The darker the sugar, the more it's gonna stay dense. The wider the sugar is gonna kind of like spread out. So I'm gonna wrap up. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can see me. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this guy. I'm gonna put it in the fridge. There we go. So that is going to be resting in the fridge. Okay, so if you want to portion your cookie, I would use a scoop, like an ice cream scoop. So, depending whatever you want, you can use medium or big. Yeah, he's just a lovely dog. He's the best. So you can use either, so like a medium scoop or a large scoop, whatever you want, depending on like the size of the cookie that you wish for. I don't have one, so I'm gonna actually portion them on a scale. So I'm gonna take my knife. And I'm going to look for about a 35-gram cookie. So that's 50 grams, so that's a lot. And we're going to work it together. So actually it's 50 grams. Oops, it's crumbling. There we go. So it's about 50 grams, so which I guess it's about like a golf ball, if you wish. I'm gonna kind of like roll it in our hands. I'm gonna have like a nice little ball, and we'll put that onto the baking sheet right there. Okay. So I'm gonna make a few. Make sure I got my right. That's very big. Very generous cookie. There we go. So I'll make 6, and then we'll put them together. Okay, which question, do you need to grease the baking sheet? So, no. So actually I'm using a steel pad, which is actually kind of like something that you never need to grease. If you use parchment paper, there's so much fat in the actual cookie that you'll be fine. So you don't need to worry about it. If you do it on the tray straight up, you definitely want to grease it, but although be very careful because it might just create a bit of a skin. So like your cookie will be very dark in the bottom. So you want to make sure you can, if you can't, use a baking paper. How long do you cool it in the fridge? You're looking at probably about 20. I mean, there's no like a maximum. You can literally make it. You can freeze it as well. That's kind of like the best. You make the dough, you shape it to whatever you want, and then you can wrap it and actually put it in your freezer. And then you just take them as you go. So you can take a bowl, put it on your tray, and bake it right away, right? So that's good if you want to make a big batch, and then that way you can use them at your ease. Whenever you want to make cookies, you don't have to go through the whole process. You just take them in the freezer and then you bake them. Super easy. I'm just gonna kind of like create those little bowls. And I'm gonna do beautiful cookies. I'm gonna put them here. There you go. 4. But yeah, if you're leaving it in the fridge, I will leave it for about at least 25 minutes. You really want everything to kind of like solidify so it doesn't melt completely down when you bake it. This recipe, again, it depends on like the size. If you do like that golf ball size, which I think is a medium scoop of ice cream, I would say, so I've got 6 right here, and I got another 500 grams, so that's another 10. So we make 16 cookies, depending on how much you eat as you make the recipe though. So if I were to make it, we'd probably have 10 cookies, because I do like to snack on them. There we go. So I'm just gonna wash my hands. And then I'm gonna bring the tray over. So you also want to make sure you space them. I mean, that's like extreme, but you want to make sure you space them a little bit so they don't actually like stick to each other. And then what you want to do is you take your fingers and you kind of like push it down a little bit. Not much, just a teeny bit. You're pretty. Frankie wants to be on the camera too. There we go. So we kind of just like push them down. Our oven is at almost at 350. So I'm gonna just put them in. We're looking at probably 7-8 minutes. So I'm just gonna add a timer. There we go. 8 minutes. Okay. So while this is baking, do you have any questions for me? Can you make biscuits too? Yeah, we can make anything we want. 11 minutes for a crunch. So yeah, so that's one thing that after you can't really, everybody's gonna have their own recipe, their own timing. I like my cookie what I call medium rare, so nice and chewy. Obviously, the more you bake it, the more crunch you're gonna have. I would say up to 12 minutes. Don't after 12 minutes, it will be burnt. So definitely do 8 to 10 for like a chewy cookie, and then 10 to 12 for something that's gonna be a little more crunchy. That's gonna snap a little bit more, which is personally not my favorite. But once again, cookies are very personal to everyone who makes them. So let me see if there's any other question. I'm gonna just roll back up. Respond that, baking sheet. Yeah, we talked about that. Why do you rest the cookie dough? So you rest the cookie dough because basically if you have to make it right away, it's not solid yet, so you don't have like a solid piece of cookie. And then when you bake it, it will just disintegrate it, and you'll have just a soup of chocolate, which is nothing wrong. I mean, I'll eat it, chocolate soup any days, but I don't think that's what we are looking for. Let me see. Puppy looks delicious already. It is. I mean, I would be happy with just eating the dough just as such. Ours looks much darker. Yeah, so you probably have a different type of sugar. Like I say, I have, so the first recipe I made, the one I'm cooking right now, I'm gonna go back to the live. Yeah, so the medium rare, exactly. That's the perfect technology for a cookie, I do believe. Yeah, so that recipe I made with brown sugar. The one that's baking, the one that we made together, actually I made with Demerara style brown sugar, so it's a little bit different. Again, not much difference in the taste. The texture will be a little bit different, and also your density of the cookie. So as I said, the darker the cookie, the more dense the cookie will be. What were the measurements again on sugar and flour? So flour, we have 260 grams, and sugar, we have 250 grams. So just 10 grams difference. Hello, everybody. Any more questions for me? In the meantime, we have another 5 minutes of baking. You can just maybe take a pic. Looks nice. What's your favorite thing to bake? My brother, so je fais des cookies pour les enfants. Sorry, that was my brother asking me a question in French. I gotta stay bilingual. My favorite thing to bake, you know what? Actually, just made croissant for the first time last week, I think it was. I'm lost in the days. They turned out like amazing, and since I've been making croissant and pain au chocolat literally every day. Yeah, so I have, as you can see, I have like another tray of croissant and pain au chocolat. The problem is when you start something, you start to get a lot of requests, so then you can never, but that's it. I'm not making any more after that. Well, yeah, so croissant would be my first thing, but I mean, I love I love baking. I was always kind of in between being a baker or chef, a savory chef. So I decided to be a chef, and then I said I will be baking on the side as well. So it works out. There's another question. What's a dessert that's shockingly easy to make? Well, cookies is like easy to make. Cheesecake, super easy to make. Souffle, actually. I did posted a video on my Instagram on how to make chocolate souffle, which is the hardest souffle to make. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, so if you make a souffle, you can actually look at how to make a souffle. It's a fairly easy recipe. You just got to follow kind of like the step one by one. And I see my French friend from Chicago, Romain Avril, was actually a master baker. So if you actually follow him and want to learn more about croissant and then all type of like French baking, give him a follow and look at his stuff. But he's laughing because making a croissant is definitely a lot of work, especially by hand. So yeah, I've been working on my muscle that I don't have, but I'm sure I'll have them in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm glad you like the croissant. It's definitely a lot of work, but you know what? It's very satisfying once you get that perfect croissant with like beautiful layers. It's personally like borderline you want to cry of happiness. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with it. Yeah, so I mean, I've been posting a lot of recipes on my Instagram lately. I think we have about like 15 or 16 recipes already. I'm posting one more today. I'll be posting another one pretty much. I'm going to try to post one a day. I'm doing a lot of baking. The reason why is a lot of other chefs are doing these videos, but they are focusing more on the salty side. I'm lucky enough that I got knowledge on both, so I'm just trying to do something different for you guys. I'm brave. Yeah. Thank you, chef. Yeah, but again, it's got a like satisfying feeling after. But yeah, the brownies, yeah, I posted some caramel brownie. So I'm always trying to do like something a little bit different from what you usually do because I'm sure you've all made cookies, you've all made brownies before. But the idea is to kind of see different things. The dough freeze, yes, absolutely. So that's something I said a little bit earlier on the live. So yes, personally, this is what I do. I make a batch, I portion it to whatever I want, and then I'm going to just freeze them. And then as I'm want them, I just take them out of the freezer, let them thaw, and bake them. You can even bake them from frozen. That's true. I mean, like I've been big. Well, like you don't really see it. I'm trying to keep it like hidden, but like I've gained some weight, so I'm trying to literally drop off everything I'm making to my friend, whether they want it or not. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up being like 500 pounds at the end of this. So, can you tell us? So, Chop Canada, yeah. So I did Chop Canada as a candidate about 6 years ago now. It was a lot of fun. It's a very long day. It's very stressful. It's very difficult. I was one, and I'll admit it. I was one to actually, be very judgmental when I was watching the show, being like, "Oh, I could have done that. Like, I would have done better. That's what I would have done." But quite honestly, once you're in the room, the camera's on your face, and the time starts. You literally lose everything you know. You don't remember your own name. Like, this is how much it feels. And you're starting to cook because you still have to get the ingredients, think of a recipe, and start cooking. And it tells you, like, there's 5 minutes left. And you're like, what? Like, it's just like, I'm not ready yet. So it is super hard. Also, it's a different show because you're not really showing your abilities. I mean, like, I'm a chef that sometimes one of my dish takes 4 days because there's so many, like, different processes. And I have half hour to come up with something with ingredients that make no sense, that are literally so hard to pair. So, oh, our cookies have called me. So let's see how they look like. I'm just gonna give them a little check. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna let them for just another minute or two. Because my oven was not quite at temperature, so they're not quite there yet. They're almost there. Any other questions? But yeah, at the end of the show is real. It's not staged. It's not like, oh, like you guys have so much more time. When the clock runs out, You do have to roll your hands, and it will not let you touch anything. As a matter of fact, if you do, when you sign the contract, they will tell you we actually will, like, you'll not be on the show. You'll be eliminated. So it's super strict and super tough. And actually, I lost in a dessert round. I made my dessert a little bit too sweet, and that's what put the other chef, to have an edge over me. But it's okay. They smell delicious. I know they are. I mean, like, look, I have. He's excited for it too. So, hi, puppy. I see him. Like he's watching them in the oven. Yeah, he's my assistant baker. He's literally like with me like all the time. Chapter we're talking about. What do you hate to bake or cook? What do I hate to bake? I hate actually making cakes. So like I'm talking like 3-stage cake, like the wedding cake style, right? That I hate. I just have so much respect for people who make them, that spend so much time on decorating them and whatever. I'm not that person. I absolutely hate making them. I will make them if I really have to, but I will try to avoid them. And this is why I have an amazing pastry chef, because that's what she would be doing. So, I gotta like defer the issue onto her. Yes. Okay. So that's so funny. So I'm just gonna take those cookies out of the oven. My friend is saying I'm the same. It's too sticky on your hands. So that's something that I always say when I'm working pastry. I'm always like, oh, everything is sticky. Everything is sticky. This is like I gotta wash my hand literally like 17 million times every 2 minutes. So here we go. So we have our cookies. I'm gonna just like let them cool down before we look at them inside. So you can always make also flatter cookies. As in you can pat it down and have like a larger size cookie, but I like mine to be a little thicker and then like shorter. So actually you can get the gooiness in the center. What makes cookies thinner? So yeah, so there's 2 things. Sorry, I'm just gonna take you with me because the dog wants to go outside. So there's 2 things that are happening. There we go. 2 things are happening about the cookie being thinner. The first one is, as we said, is how much you put them down, like yourself, like when you bake them, and also the sugars, the sugar content, the butter content. So the more fat, the more it's gonna spread, obviously, when it cooks, right? Because it's gonna melt. And then the type of sugar. So like the darker the sugar, the more dense it'll become. I'm pleased to share I've improved my technique. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Well, you know what? It was like a cute technique. I didn't plan on really filming it, but I think there's something like therapeutic about like actually segmenting supremes of grapefruit or oranges. It's something that I actually love doing. It's very soothing and calming for me, and it does look nice. I mean, like, it's always better to eat a beautiful supreme of orange rather than just like a slice with like the white in the middle. So yeah, they look good. They smell extremely nice too. I mean, when I crack one open, I have to let them cool down a little bit first. Oof, yeah, it is hot. Let's put them. I'm gonna grab a plate. Got like a nice little plate from my friend. And then, what time does your bakery open? The bakery is closed forever, miss. It'll never open again. And I'm just gonna grab a spatula. And then I'm gonna take the cookie. I'm gonna put it on the plate. Hey Cyrus, how are you? Nice live yesterday. I saw you were live with Howie. It was cool. I'm gonna put 2 little cookies. Let's do 3. Why not? We're gonna share together. Here we go. So we have like a little plate of cookie. But the essential part is to see how they are in the center, right? So that's what we're gonna go look at in a second. There's just also, there you go. I'm gonna take you back a little. There we go. So when will I get my croissant? Well, when I open my restaurant, maybe I will be doing some. Who knows? really helps the presentation. Yeah, exactly. So I've always said something. It doesn't matter what type of restaurant you are. Sorry, like I want you to see the cookies as well. You can touch them too. Like, can you smell that? Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, so when you cook, it doesn't matter if you are a traditional restaurant with 3 Michelin star or you're at home. Presentation does not cost anything, but it does a huge impression on your guests or even yourself. I mean, like, I honestly, like, I enjoy eating food plated more than I would enjoy a bunch of stuff on a plate. You know what I mean? It's not appealing. So, no, I wish you could touch them. They're like, so look at that. It's, I can see the chocolate. It's like all melty. All right, I think we should give it a crack and see how they are. I'm gonna turn it a little. There we go. So let's just take that one. I wish we had slow motion for this, but I hope you're ready. The 23 people. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry, but that is heaven on earth. Yeah. So they could definitely be rested a little bit longer. They're still very, very hot, but that's kind of like what you want to achieve, right? That beautiful chocolate. That's why I keep my chocolate in bigger pieces as well. The smaller the chocolate, the less melty I want to say it will get. So I like to put big pieces so you get that beautiful, like, literally stuffed. Almost, it's like a stuffed cookie. I'm gonna try it for you guys. Well, this is your guys' piece. You can eat it. There we go. And I have mine. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but it doesn't get better than that. It's just a cookie, right? But it's so delicious. I mean, and it's so easy to make. We literally made it in what, like 20 minutes, without the resting time, obviously. But we're gonna have the second piece if you don't mind. We're gonna wash my hands. Let's take it back up a little. So, yeah, honestly, super easy recipe to make. Yeah, no worries. I barely have any right now because I actually ate it. It's a recipe that's super easy to make at home as well. Whether it's for your kids or for like your taller kids, you know. Cookies are such. I think everybody had cookies before, no matter where you come from. I'm not from here. I've had cookies, you know, like when I was raised. So yeah, so make them at home. If you have any questions, you can also message me in my DMs. And happy baking. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for kids up front for messaging me and then have me part of this. Bake at home, bake, because Sam will make you happy. Sugar and chocolate can only make you happy. Time sweet and apple. I know. I should eat something else than sugar and chocolate or not. So let me think. Anyway, this is the cookies. We make 16 about them. If you want the recipe, it will be on the website, Kids Up Front website, I believe. And so much love for these guys. Please check their website, see what they're doing, whether you can donate your time or a bit of money. You know, whatever we can do right now to help. So thank you again. Thanks for watching. Happy cookie time, and we'll see you probably very soon on another live, and we'll make something else. Thank you, guys.